Ismu'lláhu'l-Asdaq. Among the hands of the cause of God, who have departed this life and ascended to the supreme horizon, was Janab Ismu'lláhu'l-Asdaq. Another was Janab Nabil Akbar. Still others were Janab Mullah Ali Akbar and Janab Sheikh Muhammad Reza Yazdani. Again, among others was the revered martyr Agha Mirza Varqa. Ismu'lláhu'l-Asdaq was truly a servant of the Lord from the beginning of life till his last breath. When young, he joined the circle of the late Sayyid Kazim and became one of his disciples. He was known in Persia for his purity of life, winning fame as Mullah Sadiq the Saintly. He was a blessed individual, a man accomplished, learned, and much honored. The people of Khorasan were strongly attached to him, for he was a great scholar and among the most renowned of matchless and unique divines. As a teacher of the faith, he spoke with such eloquence, such extraordinary power, that his hearers were won over with great ease. After he had come to Baghdad and attained the presence of Baha'u'llah, he was seated one day in the courtyard of the men's apartments by the little garden. I was in one of the rooms just above that gave onto the courtyard. At that moment, a Persian prince, a grandson of Fath Ali Shah, arrived at the house. The prince said to him, "Who are you?" Ismu'llah answered, "I am a servant of this threshold. I am one of the keepers of this door." And as I listened from above, he began to teach the faith. The prince at first objected violently, and yet in a quarter of an hour, gently and benignly, Janab Ismu'llah had quieted him down. After the prince had so sharply denied what was said, and his face had so clearly reflected his fury, now his wrath was changed to smiles, and he expressed the greatest satisfaction at having encountered Ismu'llah and heard what he had to say. He always taught cheerfully and with gaiety, and would respond gently and with good humor, no matter how much passionate anger might be turned against him by the one with whom he spoke. His way of teaching was excellent. He was truly Ismu'llah, the name of God, not for his fame, but because he was a chosen soul. Ismu'llah had memorized a great number of Islamic traditions and had mastered the teachings of Sheikh Ahmad and Sayyid Kazim. He became a believer in Shiraz in the early days of the faith and was soon widely known as such. And because he began to teach openly and boldly, they hung a halter on him and led him about the streets and bazaars of the city. Even in that condition, composed and smiling, he kept on speaking to the people. He did not yield. He was not silenced. When they freed him, he left Shiraz and went to Khorasan, and there too began to spread the faith, following which he traveled on in the company of Abdu'l Bahá to Fort Tabarsi. Here he endured intense sufferings as a member of that band of sacrificial victims. They took him prisoner at the fort and delivered him over to the chiefs of Mazandaran to lead him about and finally kill him in a certain district of that province. When bound with chains, Ismu'llah was brought to the appointed place. God put it into one man's heart to free him from prison in the middle of the night and guide him to a place where he was safe. Throughout all these agonizing trials, he remained staunch in his faith. Think, for example, how the enemy had completely hemmed in the fort and were endlessly pouring in cannonballs from their siege guns. The believers, among them Ismu'llah, went 18 days without food. They lived on the leather of their shoes. This too was soon consumed, and they had nothing left but water. They drank a mouthful every morning, and lay famished and exhausted in their fort. When attacked, however, they would instantly spring to their feet and manifest in the face of the enemy a magnificent courage and astonishing resistance, and drive the army back from their walls. The hunger lasted 18 days. It was a terrible ordeal. To begin with, they were far from home, surrounded and cut off by the foe. Again, they were starving. And then there were the army's sudden onslaught and the bombshells raining down and bursting in the heart of the fort. Under such circumstances, to maintain an unwavering faith and patience is extremely difficult, and to endure such dire afflictions, a rare phenomenon. Ismu'lláh did not slacken under fire. Once freed, he taught more widely than ever. He spent every waking breath in calling the people to the kingdom of God. In Iraq, he attained the presence of Baha'u'lláh, and again in the most great prison, receiving from him grace and favor. He was like a surging sea, a falcon that soared high. His visage shone, his tongue was eloquent, his strength and steadfastness astounding. When he opened his lips to teach, the proofs would stream out. When he chanted or prayed, his eyes shed tears like a spring cloud. His face was luminous, his life spiritual, his knowledge both acquired and innate, and celestial was his ardor, his detachment from the world, his righteousness, his piety, and fear of God. Ismu'lláh's tomb is in Hamadan. Many a tablet was revealed for him by the supreme pen of Baha'u'lláh, including a special visitation tablet after his passing. He was a great personage, perfect in all things. Such blessed beings have now left this world. Thank God they did not linger on to witness the agonies that followed the ascension of Baha'u'lláh, the intense afflictions. For firmly rooted mountains will shake and tremble at these, and the high towering hills bow down. He was truly Ismu'lláh, the name of God. Fortunate is the one who circumambulates that tomb, who blesses himself with the dust of that grave. Upon him be salutations and praise in the Abha realm.